Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. Most of it I'll agree with. Could be irrelevant. It is not other lectures I've done, and I'm not coming here saying I'm an absolute pro in all things regarding Swedish death clean. But it's something that impacted me over these past few years, and it's something I thought important enough to share. And so I am delighted that there are people here in which want to know more about it. So here, I have a few disclosures that I need to make as well. First of all, I have no financial conflicts with death. This topic has absolutely nothing to do with pediatric medicine or COVID. And more importantly, I am not Swedish because that question was asked. And what this is the content of this is largely based on a book that I picked up when I was wanting to learn more about it, called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning by Marguerite Magnusson, who is Swedish. So it allowed me to kind of formalize and put into my mind what I was feeling and wanting to make a difference for next steps in my life. So I have some learning objectives. One is just, what is Swedish death cleaning? One is, how can that, and I'm going to abbreviate Swedish death cleaning because I say it many times, to just SDC. And how can it help you and your loved ones? And what are some steps that you can take, no matter where you are on that journey of how many steps you can take? It's just some of the things of what steps could you take. So let me first say, this is a question I got. What's up with the grim title? I understand that it could be perceived as grim, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be sad. It also can be freeing. So some of the things that I had when I said, I turned it back on, well, what do you think this talk is about? And here are some of the things I got. It's what the Swedish do when they embalm their bodies. It's what the Swedish do when they're getting ready to prepare their loved ones who have died for the afterlife. I've gotten, it is similar to what the Swedish, the death or sin eaters, where they give some food to members and when they eat this food, it allows that one that recently died to not hang around in purgatory. But the best one I got was is that what happens after James Bond kills someone and they have to clean up the scene so no one knows there was a murder? So none of those are true. So what is Swedish death cleaning? So, let me put it here. So it came from the word dostegnan, and that is a Swedish word. The first part, do, meaning death, and segning, meaning cleaning. And so that literal translation is death cleaning. And we all know that words, when they transfer from language to language, don't always carry across and carry the same connotations. But what happened is this was popularized popularized by this best-selling book that came out by Margaret Magnusson in 2017. And it basically, I read this quote, it's the process of removing unnecessary things, making your home nice and orderly when you think the time is coming closer for you to leave this planet. So it's not about just decluttering, it's decluttering with purpose. It advocates that you use a mindset that is proactive, cleaning the things around you before your death to make your passing easier on the loved ones around you. This methodical approach to this decluttering, it's encouraging you to think about what is in your home. And it's not only geared for those who are older, it can be geared to anyone. But the filter in which you use might be different in your 30s than it is in your 50s and it is in your 60s. So why I have a picture of the cleaning products there is it's because it's not about getting out your broom and getting out about your washing. It's about arranging your life and cleaning up what is around you. And the pie is because I want you to think about it as this way. If you wanted to make your daughter a wonderful pie because she loves blueberry pie and it means a lot, it's an old family recipe, and you go in your kitchen, you make that pie and it's amazing and you leave it for her there, and when you leave the pots and the pans out and the flowers over here and the berries are on the floor. When your daughter walks into that pie, which you meant as a gift because you know she's gonna like that, and what she says is, oh my God, I have to clean the floor and I have to put the pans up and there's blueberries over here. She is not seeing the intention of what you wanted as, I made you a blueberry pie, I left it for you because I love you. She's seeing, now I have to do this and I have to do this. Oh yeah, there's some pie there too. And so what I am telling you to do, if you're gonna make a pie, clean up your kitchen so people can enjoy the pie. So this is the picture of what the book looks like. It is about 100 pages, and it's a super easy read. And it can be shared with others. It can be for you yourself, or you can buy it as a gift. The thing that I liked about it is that she had such a simple way and a humorous way of talking about what might be important. The importance of that, and what the pictures represent here, is when you might be on your way to leaving this earth with the possessions that you behind, you might think, you know what, they can do it, they're young, they're strong, but this goes beyond muscles. This goes beyond, it is in your mind, it is all the decisions that person has to make. You are not just leaving them a physical task, you're leaving them a mental task. And it's my hope that this talk might springboard you into action about rethinking about the way in which you are living your life, the way in which you are cleaning up after yourself, and the way in which you talk to others about what they can do that might be different. So why am I doing this talk? Why would I choose such a subject? And I'm having to move two things at once. So once in a while you might see me jump around here. Is because of this. My dad, my aunt, and my brother, my big brother. They don't all look like this, but this is kind of like them. And so I first want to talk about my dad. So my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And the time that he was diagnosed and his death was about 2 months. But in that 2 months, my dad gave us a gift. He gave us the gift of, with this time, he helped organize. He helped figure out things, and he talked with our family, and we talked amongst ourselves about what is next. In these pictures, this is my dad showing some of the grandkids how to go up and down the forklift to get the things up in his warehouse. This is them up there doing some cleaning and looking at that, and that was a gift that we had. Here he is showing my mom some of the guns that he had that were from his parents. And the other picture is them giving some of his grandkids some money. It is money that he was able to see, give them, see their enjoyment, see their appreciation while he was still alive. And he had that time, he had that gift. Both made a difference to him and to them that he was able to share that, because we were able to talk about it, we knew what was coming, and this is what he wanted to do. And it truly was a gift. Let's talk about my aunt's story. My aunt's story is a little bit different. So my aunt I wanted to talk about is about, if you see that little note down there, hunter-gatherers, it makes sense evolutionarily that we used to have to be hunter and gatherers. We'd go out and we'd collect and we'd gather and we'd store it for times when there might not be as much around for us, right? Well, we have transferred that over to our goods and our stuff. And there's more stuff out there. There's more stuff to get. And so we have accumulated a lot of this stuff that's not just for food. And in that process, in the old days, when you might have had stuff, you had multi-generational families living there. So if you weren't, grandma passed away, her table, you could just use her table because she was right there in your house, or she was next door, or she's across the street. Nowadays, with more stuff out there, easy to buy stuff, families living in all sorts of different places, it's not as easy to transfer stuff. So we've collected many treasures, as she collected many treasures. So when she died, there was so much stuff in which to go through, because it wasn't something that she was ready, comfortable, or to be able to do. And so we had a lot of things like this that we found. So this is in the storage, and it really became one of our themes that we put up, trash and treasure room, of how to figure out what was trash and what was treasure. It goes on. It didn't just impact her and leftover. It really impacted those related to her, and especially her daughter. So why I put this picture up is this is one of the storage areas we found that she had stored some of her stuff. And you can see we have in this current work group 6 different people. There was so much stuff and so many people. We planted her daughter there, and she was just sitting in the chair, and she was the decision maker. We would all go through stuff, show her, hey, keep her safe, keep her safe. And it was daunting. It was hard. It was emotional. There were times when we laughed so hard of the things we found, which we can all know what I mean. And there were times when there were tears. And it was stressful, and it didn't go away for many months that we were doing this. And so what I wanted to do is show you one of the things I found was the most interesting was this book we found. Really? I want to blame that book. That's me. You can tell because I'm wearing the gloves and I've got the green shirt on. That is a book we found deep in there. And I want to share something. When I was doing this, I asked my cousin, hey, if you could write a letter to your mom right now, your parents, what would it say? And she did. So I want to read that letter to you. Losing you both was painful. Missed your calls, your visits, your stories, and so much more. But nothing compares to the pain of cleaning up after you were gone. So much to do and impossible to do on my own. Why did you leave it from me? Many of us tried to help you while you were alive and go through it, but you always pushed us away, leaving us feeling bad for even offer to help. We truly wanted to help. And why wouldn't you let us help us while you were alive, to guide us, to tell us the stories, to give us direction? We worked long, hard hours and days with everyone asking me what to do with so many things. My head is spinning. I don't even know what each of these things are. My friends have come from in town and out to help, and to remain sane, I have to trust that those helping in their decision of what is trash and what can be thrown away. And that's fine until I look in the trash and there are some of my treasures, discarded, or maybe an item that belonged to someone else I needed to return. So frustrating. I want to honor your wishes, but I don't know what they are. I feel so guilty throwing out what's clearly your life savings of physical items. So many around me are working so they can ease the pain in me. I sometimes get so mad at you for putting me, my family, your son, your sister, her family, our friends in this position. I know my sadness is exacerbated from exhaustion, both physically and mentally, from decision making, organizing, begging time and energy from anyone around, or just moving another box. And the lingering feeling that I will always wonder what I didn't pay enough attention to, what might have been overlooked, and what treasure just got trashed without a second glance. People are sorry for my loss, but what they don't know is they should be more appropriately sorry for the monstrous gift that I was left. Your unfiltered mess. It's more than any one person could possibly manage. What made you think that I could even do this? What made you think that I would want to do this? Or did you even think? I wish you would have. I truly do.
Dr. Nace, could you have the sound turned up? Yeah. It's really hard in the back row unless you got
Sure.
really good hearing.
Thank you. So that being said, there were still lots of treasures we found, and I felt like we were on a treasure hunt, as did most of my family. We knew that there was money in some books, or money in a box, or money there, so we had to find that. We knew there might be, we'd be able to find my grandma's opal ring, and we knew there might be the crystal from my grandfather's cigar ashtray that we might just found that meant something. But where is it? It was a treasure hunt. And we knew we had to do this. And just worried, yeah, I can do,
We're
I
going to
can.
switch out mic.
You betcha.
What? Is that going to work?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I only have so many hands. Okay.
Which one?
Does this work better?
Yes.
Okay. Patient with me here. I'm advancing two things, holding a microphone, but we got this. So the treasure hunt, I do want to say that we did find some great treasures. And like, look at that. You know, that is a shirt that we wore for Camp Rabbit Track. Anybody who's from Fairbanks might know what Camp Rabbit Track is. You betcha. And there's a Lathrop Malamute hat that I donned when I went there as well. So we did find some treasures, but in that we also had to go through a lot of other things. So I want to take you a look at some treasures so it's not all sad. We had a tea party from 1960 tea party set. We wore masks because when we were cleaning up, even though it wasn't COVID, we just thought it best. Like that. We actually had one of those, and that's where we got that from, is related to that. Who knew? There was a skull in there. It was not real, but we didn't know at the time. Could have been. And my cousin also found her Girl Scout cookie box, and I have a nice day thing back from Girl Scout cookie. There are truly treasures in there. They are fun to enjoy. but wouldn't it have been nice if she was there to enjoy those with us? That's what we were looking at, and that's what made a difference, is just knowing that she could have explained this to us. She could have talked with us. She could have enjoyed with us. So then there's my brother's story. So my brother's story is that his death was unexpected. He was just a few years older than me, and through an accident, that's what happened. But all the questions in summary: will, where's your will? Do you have a will? We don't know where that is. Where's your stuff? Is this your stuff? Some people are saying that's not your stuff, but we think that's your stuff. We don't know there. People out of the woodwork saying, oh no, wait, that's mine. Is that yours? I don't know. We don't have anything to do. Scattered things all over for others to collect and clean up in the process. Members of my family were placed in positions that they really didn't need to be placed because of the lack of preparation. The grief of death was again just compounded by the lack of preparation. And so all of those things together, I did what any normal person would do. I thought, I don't want this to happen again. And I have an opportunity to create a different story. So again, as a good daughter, it's Mother's Day. That's my mother. What do I give her for Mother's Day? You bet I did. She looked at it a little like, oh, but she read it. And I wanted to create a different path for my family. And you know what else I did? Got credit for a Happy Mother's Day gift? You betcha I did. And it made a difference. So, by a show of hands, how many here are going to leave the planet someday? Exactly. But yet, ignoring its inevitability doesn't make it less inevitable. It just makes it messy. It just makes it messy. And so when you hear these statements like, well, won't matter to me, I'll be gone. Boy, they're gonna have a mess to clean up when I go, or I don't even want to think about it. Or there's some nice stuff here. They're gonna want it. Yeah. Or just this, crickets, nothing, not an area to talk about it. And it makes sense. Most of us don't like to think about immortality or mortality. We like to think that. And so we all kind of subconsciously think that we're going to be alive for a long time. You don't need to get to this just yet. We're going to be alive for a while. And so you can't wrap your head around death. And so we do what lots of people do. We just ignore it and we push it and kick the can down the road. And we leave the task for others. I want to ask you, what happens when you leave the task for others? Yeah. How many times have you seen this annoying thing? This is what it's like. This is what happens. And so my encouragement is that say, okay, we might not have control over the exact process of death, our time, the method, but we do have control how we leave it for those we leave behind when it's our time to go. So we do have control over that. And yet also it's a hard concept to think of, like, but doesn't my daughter want this? This is what she went to the home and from the hospital in. And what about her cap from kindergarten? It was so cute when she wore that. And what about her medals from 4th grade? Oh, I know she's gonna want those. You know, don't take it personally if your sentimentality is not the same as theirs. It's different. They're different. They don't remember coming home from the hospital. You do. So figure another way to celebrate, another way to enjoy that. But try not to take it personal if they don't have the same attachment that you might. So, why don't we talk about death? Well, one reason is that we fear it. Sometimes talking about it is hard. And so fear is a powerful motivator of doing things or not doing things. And so we sometimes worry it might be seen as rude, or maybe it's upsetting to those and we don't want to upset anyone. We're worried that it might come across as all the sadness of the feelings, the regret. And so it might be awkward. It might create some anxiety, don't want to go that. We worry we might not know the answers to the questions of what do you want to do with that, and what your feelings might be. It just feels overwhelming. So in that moment, it just might be easier to ignore it. And that's where I want you to think about what we're talking about here, and as a way to bridge some of those fears and some of those anxieties. So why would we want to talk about it sooner or later? So one of the things is that as we get older, you kind of might feel more tired, have less stamina as you get older. There's more chance that health concerns could get in the way. And there's also the chance and the opportunity to accumulate more stuff. So the sooner we adopt this mindset, the sooner that we might be able to make a difference, saving both time and money for those. Now, with age, also you can gain wisdom about life's priorities. And this is your opportunity to shine and really think, is this something that I use and I need to make me more comfortable? Or is it just something I have? Your filters change over the decades. The picture there of the filter is that you might filter something different in your 30s than you do in your 40s. This is a repeating process of going through things. I might save something in my 50s that by the time I get to my 70s is no longer useful. So it's a continual process. So you can still do this whether you're 20s or in your 30s, but it's really more time sensitive, especially to do it as you get into your older years. So our belongings, how many times do we talk about it and I might need this. I'm so guilty of that. I might need this. How about, I have to keep this. And it's a memory. You associate with a memory that you don't want to go. And you have to wonder, is this clutter or is this something I need? And so when I'm looking at clutter, the definition that sticks in my mind is when an object meets uncertainty in its destiny. It's delayed decision making. You put it there because you don't know really where you want to go, where you want to put it, if you want to keep it, if you want to get rid of. So you know what you're going to do? You're just going to put it right here for now. So it's just delayed decision making, and it piles up over time. So having all of that, the walls kind of come in as you get more stuff. And that feeling can create a constant sense of undone. The freedom of you feel when you clean up a room, when you clean up an area, when you go through something, so amazing. Imagine if you did that with your whole house and over time. Delaying does not make it any easier. So I'm here to encourage you. That woman right there, she's strengthening her declutter muscles so she can get her out of possession purgatory. The other thing is we look at the people around us. And I think these statements are, I don't even imagine that there's someone who's looking forward to taking care of all the stuff you left behind. They're not. They're not. They want some of the things, not all of the things. And there's definitely limited excitement in taking off more time from work, missing vacations, stressed to take care of what you didn't take care of yourself. And that endearment that you want to leave behind is going to be clouded by resentment. So the stress of losing someone, in that process right there, when you have lost, it alters the foundation on how you function. It's harder to concentrate when all those emotions are flying around. You have this sense of, I have to do this. The funeral's this time. Oh, wait, he's in town. She's not in town. We have to get together. There's different opinions about what we should do. It's unclear the direction we're supposed to go. I don't know what we're supposed to do. Where's the path forward? There is definitely a higher potential from those around to have resentment for each other, to feel left out, to feel offended, to disagree with you if they don't have a clear path forward. And so this is your opportunity to help all of those. So where do you begin? There's a lot more information that we can cover here and just a lecture, but I'm going to give you some highlights from the book, and then I encourage you to get the book. I don't get any kickback for the book, by the way. So start where you tend to store your excess, whether that's your basement, your attic, your storage shed, stuffed cupboards, whether it's a drawer, whether it's the corner, but start someplace where you haven't touched things for a while. You might even tell someone else, hey, this is what I'm doing. And the reason is they might help you. They might be over there. They might be able to bring boxes and bags and help you. And if not, make sure you always have boxes and bags right there so when someone comes over, you say, here, want this? And you can pass it on. Have that right there and available. But don't wait forever. Don't say, oh, someone might want this. Or, oh, I think Susan said she was going to get this. If you are going to offer your stuff to someone else, use the words, I have this here till Sunday. This is what it is. If you want it, you can have it. Then you've given yourself an out. But don't save it for someone waiting for them to stop by, swing by and take it. If they don't come get it, chances are they didn't really want it. Make categories, consider that about this is furniture I'm going to go through, or clothes or books. And so there are different areas that might make sense to your house. It might be different hobbies that you have. And then for taking them out, think about a keep box or an area, a giveaway, a throwaway. And although this wasn't in the book, I had I'm not sure yet box, because sometimes that thought process slowed me down, that if I put it in the I'm not sure box, and then I didn't touch that box, 6 months, whatever it might be, I knew that it could be advanced to bye-bye box. So if you are having trouble and it's holding you up, consider whether you need I'm not sure at box, and choose something that's easy. Things that are easy can be like clothes, books. Decide what you need and what you don't need. So the next one is where not to begin. Don't start with your photographs. Don't start with your scrapbooks. Don't talk. It's fun, but it's sad. It's full of lots of things, and you can get so stuck on memory lane that you never get to the other things when you needed to get to. It's the decision making in that process is quite difficult. And size matters in death cleaning, but you didn't know that. Size matters because you want to get rid of those things that take up more space, furniture, and it shows progress. You feel more success. Whereas photographs, although small in size, they are so big in emotional weight. So when you're organizing, some of the things to think about in general in life is try to keep the things where you expect them to be. How many times have you said the word, "Where am I?" ... keys, wallet, phone, jacket, etc. If they always went in the same spot, you would know where they are. Consider also giving away some things when people come over. Like, hey, in a quiet, kind way, would you like this? There are some things that we no longer need. Do we really need 6 tablecloths right now? You were only using 1 or 2. I have a set for eating for 20. When is the last time you had 20 people come over to your house and all need their own plates? So think about, are there things you could be offering over time? It doesn't have to be one big thing, but think about what are some of those things you could share with people while they're still alive. Ask others, is there something precious here that you do want? And whether you give it to them now or whether you label it, that can make a difference. It can make a difference of this has direction. We know where this thing is going. And if you organize yourself now, then you don't have to have the ones left behind with that task. Labeling is super important. If you're not ready to get something, but you know where they're gonna go when you're done, hey, this can go to the women's shelter. Hey, this needs to go to the museum. Hey, this needs to go here. Put a label on them, make a list of it, but share that with others. And if you have questions about certain things like, is this electronic worth saving? That's when you ask your nephew, hey, is this electronic worth saving? If you don't know what charity is, ask your friend. Oh, she's in public health. She might know who I could donate this to. Wonder if this could be sold on social media. Ask your niece, can you sell this on Facebook Marketplace? You can use others around you, but start writing it down so you can ask those questions when you see them next and you have all your questions ready. So some ways to talk about Swedish death cleaning. Here are a couple quotes and then one that I particularly like. So, hey, you have many nice things. Have you thought about what you want to do with it all later on? Or you could say, hey, did you ever think that life could be easier or less tiring if we cleared some of this stuff out you've collected over the years? Or is there anything we can do together in a slow way so that there won't be too many things to handle later? And one that I find particularly powerful, and one that I have had for years in my mind for those when I leave this planet, is what do you wish for your loved ones after you no longer here? And my answer is, what I wish for is for those who I leave behind to be able to support each other and have the tools so they get along and I don't create family turmoil by my lack of decision making or preparation. So that when I leave this planet, those can embrace and agree and understand in a way that if I left it unprepared could create possible conflict. I want them to continue the family and be the family that I hope them to be. And by doing these steps and taking in thought about what this is, that's a pathway to there. So if this topic seems unapproachable and you are the one who's not comfortable approaching it, you're the one who's not comfortable approaching it with someone who might be an older loved one, then I'm telling you, just anticipate. You're going to be that girl holding that book next to that van and taking care of it. You are going to be the one who's dealing with it later. But maybe consider smaller ways in which you can talk to them. Hey mom, tell me more about these things in your house. What's this mean? What's that? Maybe that's the conversation that you can have with that particular person. Tell me what's important here. Hey, what did you get this? And ask them gently. So a way we can put that on there to maintain this history, I'd love for it to be able to pass that on to my kids so they know this history. Find other little ways that you can maybe help move them down the path ready if they're not ready or you're not ready to talk about it just like that. So if this topic seems unapproachable and you are the older one, I want you to remember this. Loved ones wish to inherit nice things from you, not all of your things. And loved ones' lingering thoughts can be impacted by the effort you put forward in this process. Do you want them to think of you with resentment, with frustration? Do you want them to think of you endearment and have those memories not clouded by the work and extra work that they have? How do you want to be remembered by them? So what about self-care when you're doing this? This is not a sprint. This is not something that you should go and start now and be done by next Tuesday. This is a marathon. This can take months, depending on the size of the amount, depending on how you like to work, depending on who's around and where you live. This can take months, it could take years, and it's an ongoing process. One room you cleaned out, 5 years later, you might need to clean it again. Or 2 months, you might need to clean out again. So it's a continual process. That's why also having a friend with secondary accountability in decision making can be a so very helpful thing. To be able to say, should I keep this? And they go, and you know this probably, that little extra stinks, okay, I'm getting rid of this. The other thing is once you decide to get rid of it and your friend's leaving, send it with them. Because otherwise you are gonna look back in that box and you're gonna pull those 3 things because you know you're gonna use it again. And have the cleaning fit into your life, not take over your life. No, I can't come over for dinner, I gotta clean. No, I can't go do this, I gotta clean. It's part of your life. It's just another section of your life. It's not your life. And celebrate those small successes, because that can be important down the road. So, what are other ways? We can do this from day one. Limit the ends. Reuse, recycle. Starting at any age, you can do this. Living smaller can sometimes be a relief. I'm not saying that minimalism is for everyone, but a fraction of minimalism could be for all of us. Is thinking about, do I really need this? Hey, is there a way I could train myself to just enjoy what I'm seeing by looking at it and not that I have to purchase it and take it home and look at it there? Is there other ways in which I can do this? Someone gives you a gift. When you get that gift, think about that gift as gratitude for the action that that person thought about me and brought it to me. That's the gift, not necessarily the object. And what you do with it, because sometimes we don't get rid of things because we have guilt. Oh, I can't do that, she gave that to me. But think about it as a gratitude for that moment and that thought that that person provided you. You might put it out temporarily and then it finds a new home. You might also, depending on what it is, have the strength or the appropriateness that, you know, I don't have room for that. I love the thought of it, I love that, but I don't have room for that. And that's okay too. You have to figure out what works right for the person who's giving it to you or the situation that you're in. But there are alternatives besides collecting them. So another word, increase the outs. So how many of us would say this? I might need this someday. Or, I love this book. All 300 of them. I love them all. I might read them again because I think I enjoyed it the first time I read them. What if I need to look that up? I need those books. Do you really? Do you really need all of them? How about just keeping the ones you're gonna read? I mean, those are options. And here, this important one too, no sense in saving something that might upset or shock someone in your family. You all know what I'm talking about. Just think about it. Do you really need to keep that? Is this really a memory I want to bring back up for someone? I'm talking diaries, I'm talking pages, I'm talking other things. Think about, is this really time for the bonfire or to feed the shredder? And then take those next steps. The 2 questions, kind of narrowing it down when you're sorting through the stuff, could be simplified into these. Will I ever need this? And will anybody I know be happier because I saved this? I mean, definitely the line and how we answer this can be different, but it's still something to consider. Think about those 2 questions when you're looking at something. Okay, photographs. They're hard, they're a challenge, they represent money, they represent so much to us, and they are emotionally and they are time intensive. So you gotta find the right time in which to do this, and there's different ways to approach it. In terms of saving them, different strategies is someone, if they have the know-how and the ability and the time, can put all their pictures on the same kind of media, save them on a memory stick, share them with their family. Sometimes there are different companies, you can put it all in a box, memories, and send it out to them. They'll put all your old 8mm, your VHS, your Beta if you happen to use that. They'll put it all in one thing for you. I mean, those are options. Some talked about putting all their pictures as they're sorting through them in different boxes that they might think might affect other people. And when they come over, taking this opportunity to share with them. So many things like, oh my God, look at this. I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember this. Did you do that? I mean, that can be a fun time. That can be something that adds to that. And then you can offer those pictures to others if they no longer are serving your purpose in that moment. You can ask others to help label and organize them. And I am here as Mishelle Nace, the person Mike Powers described, to give you permission. If you have pictures of landscapes that you do not even know where they are anymore, you can get rid of them. There are so many pictures that we have when you're going through, it's a really hard thing to do. So take a moment, appreciate what you're looking at, and if you need to get rid of them and you're ready to get rid of them, shred them. Oh, that was hard to say. That was really hard to say. But that is what we're talking about, because if you don't do it, someone behind you is going to have that same kind of stress. And what a gift it is if you can go through that, you knowing more than the next person. Okay, what about those keepsakes that want to be kept? It is okay to keep some things. I'm not telling you to get rid of everything. Find the place. If that brings you joy, put that up there. If that medal brings you joy, put that up there. If that stuffed animal brings you joy, you can keep it. Just keep that number to a reasonable amount. Have an area there. You might photograph some of these things and then be able to release them that way. There's also the you may throw away box. So these are things that you want to keep now, and you can label on this box, hey, you may throw away. There's a message to the descendants on before you that they don't have to even look through it. Darn right they're going to look through it. But you can throw this away. But you're giving them the freedom. You're giving them the gift that you don't have to. If they don't want to, they don't have to. But man, what a difference that can make if I know inside that it's okay if I didn't look for it. It's okay that I didn't label that it made sure it didn't need to go someplace else. So thank you for that. And who is this for? Who is this for? Beyond just giving this gift of freedom to the loved ones left behind you, it's also a gift to yourself. It is a hugely positive, uplifting thing to be able to walk in there and feel your house not so cluttered. It is a hugely positive thing that you found a memory, you looked at something, you enjoyed it, you felt gratitude for it, and then you let it go. And you can explain and make an ordinary thing extraordinary. This is the desk that your grandfather studied on. Your dad used it, and so did I. Do you want this? That is different. Hey, do you want this old desk that's pretty rackety and old? That is a different. So are there things that you find that are memorable and extraordinary? Tell the story that goes along with them. Put the story underneath them. Do something to be able to express that. And again, will anybody be happier because I saved this? Think about those words. So I want to put some other things, which I am no expert in, but on this. I can't also express the incredible importance of these kinds of things to think about as well. It goes beyond what we're talking about here, but also gather, organize your important documents, update your wills, your trusts, your beneficiaries, get your living will, your advanced directives, who's your power of attorney if something should make you incapacitated. What are your final arrangements? What do you want? Do you have life insurance? Did you mean to get it? Do you not need it anymore? And all by all, communicate to your family. Here's what I'm doing. To hide and say, I don't want to hear about the mess that I'm going to create when I leave, or I don't want him to know that he's getting that or he's getting that until after I'm gone. Do you know what that creates? discord and affects the family and the people after you. Do everything in your power to help them through this, not give them more obstacles. Okay, I kind of like the title of this slide, Passing Thoughts. So many options are out there regarding leaving this world. To spare your relatives, your loved ones, the stress of making decisions is a gift. Honest communication about where you are, what you're doing, so very important to set them up for success. And yeah, you might need some legal help for some of the things I just mentioned beyond the scope of here. But you can also write down your preferences. You can write them with a pen, piece of paper. You can put them online. Not online. You can put them on your computer and you can share them with others. There are lots of options you can do that don't cost you a dime. The hours, the stress, the time you save your loved ones is beyond priceless. The relief that you'll feel from doing it, it's very freeing. So here we go, Mom. This is my story. So this was over a year ago when I had her read the book. And this is what we did. So in the basement we go. We went down, we started in her basement, we pulled out little things, and we did this together. And she was in the garage, working on some garage stuff. And this is what she felt like some of the times. How to get so much stuff? I think we can say that. It's like you accumulated over the years, right? So we got down to business. We emptied her garage, and then we put all the stuff in the basement in the garage, and we worked our way through it. And I wasn't there the whole time with her, but I helped get things ready, bring things over to her. Hey, what's this about? Tell me this story. We laughed pretty hard, and there were some poignant moments to it, but we got things done, and we were able to do it together. So here's some real gems. Look at getting into med school. I'm pretty sure I don't need that one anymore. How many remember This Land Is Your Land bags back in the time? Yeah, old albums, Susie Homemaker oven. I mean, I might need it. I probably cooked more in that thing than I do in my real oven. So, and there's my diary right there. Found it. I did. There are gems in there, and how fun it was to be able to share it with her, to talk about and to be able to laugh in the real time of doing that. She found some things too. So wondering what the heck this was, like oak toilet seat. And notice that there's snow out there. I just want to point that out. That's when we started. This is what a garage looked like part, and that's my brother. My brother came over to help haul things away, found an old Batman costume, and so even Batman came to help when we needed it. The basement and the garage, that's what it looked at one time, and then we got it back looking like that. Found the different spots, the different people to go through, cleaned out the basement. There's still some things in the basement. They're nicely labeled, people's names by what they are. And the rest of the stuff, we were able to figure out the homes for it and to go through it. And she did it. So, oh, we're not done yet. Then there was the shed. So notice the snow's gone. We didn't do this all in one setting. This is another time when we both felt ready. Hey, what are you doing this? Okay, we made time. Yeah, the snow's gone. This is another time that we had the time to be able to do this. It wasn't pressure. We didn't have to get it done. When was I not working? When was she available? When could we do it? And we did. We emptied out her whole shed, looked at it, laughed at some of the things, and we cleaned it out. We made that shit sing. So, and it was a fun process. There's a lot of things in there that probably are now at my house, but there's also a lot of things that we were able to get rid of and move on to the next thing. Then there was the office, that was less of that I could do, more that she can do, but we help with the process of organization. So we emptied out some of her old files. We put them all over on the floor. We had to trash. I had this temporary bin where we labeled things that she could go away later. So she should go through later, that she didn't have to finish right in that moment. They might say things like shredding on here, go through this later, memories, look at this. And so to be shredded, grandpa, parenting classes, go through later, so that when I left, she could do some things on her own. And she did a lot on her own as we set it up for there. And then came back and got the shredding and got the trash and go for there, and we tackle another section of it. And we're still not done. But between us, look at this. Oh. Nearly 140 years of cleaning experience between me and my mom. Yep. And we did it. And we really, it was fun. It was not, and it was a relief, and I'm going to bring her up here to just share a little thing of what she learned. One of the things that my mom is good at is with words, and she wrote a little poem about what we did. I want her to come up here and share her little poem so you can see who my mom, the death cleaner. So I am having to hold the microphone, but I have to stand next to her so she can get this microphone, so we're gonna be really close. So.
I know you appreciated Michelle's wonderful depiction of all this, and I have a simpler one, but it's me. The gentle art of Swedish death cleaning. What? The art of death cleaning? There must be more to explain this meaning. First, the title may surprise, but it really shouldn't. To consider this topic is really quite prudent. Showing care for the future is generally wise. The author doesn't wish to use any old guise. As one must admit, the title gets your attention. The look of angst appears with only the mention. Although death is inevitable, with each passing day, some find the word is just hard to say. We tiptoe around while possessions stack up, worrying might we need a semi to back up? To respect all the feelings, we're kind and we're gentle, but we find something hiding and can make us temperamental. After one passes, isn't it true? There's so much sorting and cleaning to do. Must consider the wardrobe and financial affairs, the home, the car, and many household wares. Some stuff is expected. Willing helpers sort through. But remember, there's the attic and the basement's full too. Open a hall closet, look in the back shed, where a barrage of old items might fall on your head. OMG never knew about this plethora of collectibles. My eyes were aghast, with or without my spectacles. How could all this stuff be accrued in one spot? This job could take much more time than I've got. Wondering how one could gather such mire. Maybe just briefly I considered a fire? There are other alternatives now to consider. Maybe I can sell it to any low bidder. But before I get to go, I'm coached to clear my clutter, because I want to be known as a thoughtful, caring mother. Mother. Daughter says, I'll help you with this task, mother, my dear. We'll gradually sift through, or I'll call an auctioneer. To help you get going, we shared what we've done, because believe it or not, it turned out to be fun. No pushing, just planning and action to rid it. Today I feel blessed, and I'm damn glad we did it. I plan to live longer and do what I can. Besides, I still have my funeral to plan.
So with the questions about the dödstigning, I looked up what the Swedish word for living, and I was like, why didn't she call this livstagning? This is not really death cleaning, this is life cleaning. And it has such nicer connotations. So I encourage you to use that term if you want. But if it's having trouble talking with someone, call it life cleaning. That sounds a little more optimistic, and if that will help you get to that pathway, then you go for it. But this is the message. One, thank you for taking the time to come here and listen. But more importantly, if you do nothing else when you leave here, nothing else, go home and label your keys. Thank you.
Maybe a couple of questions.
So, is there anybody who has any questions about our process? Yeah.
It's actually
especially not the process. The one thing, so I had to go through a house, and probably like stage 3 hoarder house of my aunt's, and there was a lot of historical photos from Fairbanks. And I think that, these photos from Fairbanks, there were so many of them, and I am someone who really appreciates history, so I pulled them so that we could donate them to the archives. So then they can make the decision, right? What's important. And I also had a grandmother who had a lot of photos of Ophir, which is in the middle of nowhere, and she poured bleach all over them because she didn't think anyone would want them. And so I think there's, as you're doing Swedish death cleaning, just, I guess, think about that. Like, your family might not want it, but maybe there's someone in Fairbanks who would.
Yes, it's an excellent point. There are sometimes, and we did do that with some of the stuff we found. It was historical stuff. We did and share with a lot of different groups, but it gets exhausting doing that as well. And so some of those things you can do before you pass.
I've already started this, and every time the kids come over, I say, "What do you want? Take whatever you want."
High five. Is that you?
I just wanted to say the book is available on Audible as well. I found it just now.
Yeah, it is.
Tell them about the workbook.
No, I'm not gonna.
This might sound like not respecting boundaries, but when one of my sons doesn't care about things in general, so he's really willing to give away everything, and so then I feel like I have to make a decision just in case he feels better or differently later. Because he wants to get rid of everything. But how's that possible?
So I think those are some of the.
What if he wants some of it later?
Yeah. I think those. So on those who want something later, one of the suggestions that they make is make a small box, a small little thing of gestures. If you think the things that are really important, and it's just tiny, and you can put them in there. You can take pictures of those things and put pictures in there. There are different alternatives than throwing just everything away. And as I talked, different people have different degrees of sentimentality on things, and so sometimes you can't understand why they don't feel and think the same way you do. And sometimes they don't want the burden of that stuff. They want to be able to move around. So one of the decisions to solve both your need to save it and their need to get rid of it is to filter it down still to a smaller area that is able and bite size, and to keep that. And then at some point, you can always get rid of it, but if not, and its time is appropriate and the situation is appropriate, you have that.
So what's your suggestion for the child that wants it all, save it all, mother, do not throw anything away? Yes, this child lives in my house,
Yeah.
and I have a really hard time with that.
Yeah. I could see, so the question is, what if the child wants everything and doesn't want you to throw everything, which can be also a challenging situation. But what you do is you bring her to this talk, and you buy her the book, and you talk about it. It's conversation, it's communication. It's totally getting on the same page. I hear that's what you want. Here's what I want. Here's my concerns. And so you have to figure out the happy medium between the two of you, but it's about dialogue, and read the book. Have her read the book. Tell her about the things, and making it so that you both feel, okay, I'm respecting her choices on that, but she also has to respect yours and come to a happy medium. Did you? Yeah.
There's been countless times when I've gotten rid of something and then later I have wanted it and needed it. I got rid of all my Spanish books and I'm 100 books to the Literacy Council, and then I'm learning Spanish again. And she bought one of the books I gave away. And then on the other hand, there's many times when I have something that I saved maybe for 20 years. Oh, I'm so glad I had that. So it's hard to know. Now I don't know anything because it happens so much.
So again, I am no total pro on all this. I can just tell you from my view, the thing of oh, there was something you saved for 20 years, you got rid of it, and then you needed it. That's gonna happen. But you know what they do? They sell most Spanish books. They also have them at the library.
No, there's no textbooks. no Spanish textbooks.
But if you wanted to learn the Spanish language, I could help you find another way to do it. And so there's a lot of things we can save for what ifs. There are a lot of things that I might use this. And what that leads to is collection of more stuff. And so if your goal is wanting to lead a life that doesn't have the clutter, that walls coming in, then it's a choice to make. And so, you know what? That hurts too. I've done it too. It's like, oh, I just heard that, I just threw that out. We've all gone through that experiment. But then the 3 weeks, the 4 months, the years in between where you had more space to live, more comfort in that, that's your reward. And so it's a balancing act of what do you save and what do you give away.
Two things. One is a gift from my parents who remembered things we enjoyed when we were kids, who then said, but you might not like this anymore. So they asked us to make a list of things because knew our tastes changed, and I was going to bring things from New York to Fairbanks, and I thought that was real good. The other thing is, just on the books and those things, I got a chance this summer to teach a course that I hadn't taught for 10 years, and I had just gotten rid of a bunch of books, and I was like, oh, if I only had that. And then I realized what was great is I got updated. And so I think, yeah, we can do it. Get rid of it, is my experience.
Here in Fairbanks, many of us have maybe large families or small families, but they're spread around the country. We may see them next week, we may not have seen them for years. I don't know, it's a general ideas that you've given us have been very helpful, but down to the specific ones we need to do, that's going to be the hard part that we have to think of.
Yeah. And that's where the book can come in handy. It goes through a little more detail. It gives you a little more meat than I could do in just an hour.
And along with the joy that you had about being able to do that together, which is really nice, but do also be aware that some things can be triggering for people who either had not so good an experience with a part of their life that some of those things may bring back to, or who had to deal with somebody's stuff already and found that just such an onerous job that, like my daughter says, Mom, if you have it like this, I'm backing up a dumpster. I don't care if there's money in those books. There you go. So, you know, there are other things that may affect people. So it is a joy to be able to share and do that together. You may not be able to do that. And I liked your idea about, you know, letting them know, hey, would you still want this? I remember you liked it, because they don't all like the same stuff.
Okay, that brings us to the top of the hours. I have two Mishelle requests. The first Mishelle request, a big hand for Dr. Mishelle.